Hello and welcome to Everyday Champions in Business, presented by Action Coach Dane County. Action Coach is the world's #1 business coaching company, and this is your opportunity to hear the stories, tips, and insider information that makes business the greatest game on the planet. I'm Amy Atherton, business coach with Action Coach Dane County, and I have the pleasure of introducing David Kijeck of WEA Member Benefits. Welcome, David.
Hey, hi.
So,
Nice to
David,
see you.
can you start out by telling us a little bit about WEA member benefits and your role in it? Kind of how long you've been
Sure.
in the role, just how many employees you have, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, so I've been at WEA Member Benefits since 1993, so a long time. And I've been in my current role as the president and CEO since 2005,
Oh,
so
wow.
another long time.
Mm-hmm.
WEA Member Benefits is a financial services organization, and it was created to provide financial services such as retirement savings programs and personal insurance products to the PK-12 public school employee. Initially, it was designed just for Wisconsin, and recently we started to expand outside of the state as well.
Oh, wow. How far outside the state?
Some products we offer digitally in 50 states, long-term care, life insurance, and Medicare stuff. And then other products, it depends on licensing because they're financial products. So we have our IRA licensed in 14 states, and people can purchase that digitally as well. And then we have our 403B, which is a special tax code like a 401k, but for educators, that they can shelter retirement savings. And we have that product in the collar states around Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay. So then who are your customers per se? Are they the schools?
So we kind of have two customers. One, we have to sell the school on certain products. So we work with administration to get our plan document put into the district. And then once they use our plan document, then anyone in that district can participate. And that's for the 403B primarily. Our individual products like the IRA programs and the financial planning services and the insurance products, those are available to anybody that works in a public school. And then if they participate, then their family members can also be in our program. So it's like 1 degree removed from an educator, you can participate. And if you're in other, say the kids move away or whatever, if they're in one of our other states, they can go ahead and they can participate there too. So our focus from day one is on public school educators. And that includes anybody that gets a paycheck from the school district.
Okay. Yeah. So
we were created. Yeah, I'll give you a little smidge more. We were created by WEAC, the teachers union, through a trust agreement. So we have 2 trusts as part of the organizational structure, and the trusts were granted by the teachers union back in the early 70s. One of the trusts was created in 1972. We call that the Member Benefit Trust, and the other was created in 1978 when the tax code changed, and that's when we created the Tax Sheltered Annuity Trust. And so those trusts then have, or the Member Benefit Trust has subsidiary companies underneath it as well. So it's several companies under one roof, if you will.
Okay, yeah. So the majority of what you do is offer benefits focused on educators. So if you were to get individually, yes. So if you were to get philosophical, what is the problem that you solve or the value that you add with your offering?
So from day one, the grantors of these trusts, their desire was to create a financial service organization that would take the worry out of financial purchases such as insurances and retirement savings programs. And really, we were a hedge against corporate America, if you will. And so being governed by trustees, we've always had a high fiduciary responsibility to our participants of the trust. And it wasn't until some bad behavior in the past few years that brokers and others had to become fiduciaries, but we've always been a fiduciary, and we put the members' needs first and foremost. And our goal is to make sure every member is financially secure. So it's helping them navigate all the complexities so that they can focus on their day job, educating our kids, and we can focus on these things, and they can trust that we're going to do what's best for them. So it's really a nice benefit for an educator if they know about us.
Yeah.
To take advantage.
Yeah. Navigating that world is not easy. So having someone in your corner is amazing. So thank you for what you do. Yeah. So within that, have you faced any challenges recently?
Every business faces challenges, right? And some are bigger than others. We've had the markets over the past few years have not been, you build models around what you expect to be the norm. And what we found, when interest rates got tipped on their ear, when the Fed was, propping up the economy, we found that our investments that we need to, we invest our own money, right? In addition to the members' money. And we were finding that, our guaranteed stable value product was having a tough time competing with the treasuries and CDs of the world because they were able to adjust their rates quickly to take advantage of the higher interest rates that were created by the Fed for short-term money. In fact, short-term money was more advantageous than long-term, and that's where it was inverted or tipped on its head. That required us to navigate that, and educate members not to chase rate, but to think about retirement savings as a long-term investment, not a short-term where you're playing the market and you're trying to jump on that. So that was one, the market. And then the weather on our property and casualty insurance side, personal insurance, auto, home, umbrella. For our WEA property and casualty insurance product, we take the risk. And when that weather comes through the way we've seen with the climate changing, it's had an impact on the industry, and we're not protected from that any more than anyone else in the industry is protected from it. And we put a lot of roofs on homes, and it's just getting through all of that gyration. During the pandemic, we had a lot of challenges around supply chain issues and inflated repair costs because parts and service all went up. So we've had to navigate a fair amount of challenges around the economy, just like everyone else has. It's just our approach might be a little different.
Yeah. And how you've kind of overcome those challenges is by doing more education with your customers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are all educating our members so they make good choices.
Good.
We're in the school district. Yeah, we're in the school districts. We put out a lot of material. Our website's available. We do conferences all over the state. We really push education.
Yeah.
Which is an organization was created by educators. So makes sense.
So when you're busy doing all this educating, where do you find time for David? How do you find David time?
Mm-hmm. Over the years, I've less David time than I used to, but I still make time for me and my family. I think that's important. You've got to, these jobs will consume you, especially if you have a competitive spirit. It becomes your sport, and you want that, right? And so you put a lot of time and effort, even when you're not sitting in the office or in front of a member or whatever, you're putting in time thinking about it 24/7. So you've got to find opportunities And you've got to schedule, in my mind, you got to schedule those opportunities to have your personal time and make it a priority, just like you would any other meeting. We're fortunate we have a fitness room in our building, so over lunch I'm down there and working out and shower and run back upstairs and go at it again.
Yeah,
And then,
great
you know,
great tips.
make
Schedule
sure you
time.
have, yeah, whatever your thing is, be sure to do it.
Good. Great. Well, thank you for all of that. We're going to do some rapid fire questions. So just short answers here.
Okay.
The first one being, do you have a mentor or someone you looked up to that helped you get to where you are today?
I did. Prior to getting appointed in 2005, there was an interim CEO who happened to be the CEO in the past, and he had retired. And he was probably the smartest guy I've ever met. Photographic memory, super smart, and really personable. And he was successful when he was the CEO. His name was Terry Herndon. And Terry, when I was appointed, I asked Terry to be my coach for about a year and a half. And he really helped me get focused on the world that I was stepping into. And so I would say Terry was my mentor.
Okay. Thank you, Terry. So with that, what is your key to success?
I think the key to success of any organization is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think culture trumps strategy every time, every day. And so we spend a great deal of time building culture at Member Benefits. So much so that, you know, I sometimes wonder if staff get tired of all the ways we go about doing that. But our engagement surveys, we make sure we measure engagement annually using a Gallup survey. We also apply for the top workplaces in the Wisconsin State Journal, and we've won that for 6 years. And we've had national attention around our employee engagement. So we've had a good run, and it's because we're intentional about culture and employee engagement. And that I have a little chart that I provide to every new employee that I meet with, and it's in our business plan, and we provide our business plan to every employee as well. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but on this page, you see that little triangle?
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah. So on the bottom is the employee, in the middle is the member, and on the top is a dollar sign.
Okay.
If you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that triangle kind of represents that from my decision-making process.
Mm-hmm.
And when we make decisions, we focus on how will it impact the staff first, not the, because I believe if staff are engaged and feel cared for, they will do the same with our members and treat them the same way. And we find that to be true. Our retention numbers are outstanding in the mid-90s. We've got, you know, our employee tenure is very long. Our customer satisfaction numbers are very high. So, so we focus on how it'll impact the staff, how it's going to impact the member, and then we get, I believe it'll just naturally happen that we'll add the surplus. I think companies that tip that triangle on its head and they focus on the dollar, right, and they make employees last, the triangle can't stand, so it falls over.
Right.
It's that whole model that I think is the key to our success here, and has really shaped my career in how I deal with and make decisions.
Yeah, that's good advice. Very inspiring too. Thank you. So what's your advice for a new business leader, someone stepping into a executive role? What's your advice for them?
The first thing is go slow. The first thing you want to do when you get a new job, you know, if I appointed you as a CEO one day, you would think you knew what it took to be a CEO, and you'd start knocking those things off, right? Don't do that. Take time, take time, and you may have pressing needs that are right front and foremost, but I would say get staff involved in the decision making and take their needs to heart around whatever decisions you have to make. Sometimes, and there are always exceptions to every rule, and sometimes you have to make a fiscal decision. But it's really your intent, your overall intent, to how you want to lead. Do you want to lead around the bottom line? Do you want to lead around the employees? Do you want to lead around the member or your customer? We've always grown up to hear customers always right. And that's, we treat the members that way. But that doesn't mean the customer's needs supersede our staff's needs. We need to have evening hours that will have a definite impact on staff. So how would we solve that? There are ways that we could just look the other way and say you're going to work until 7 o'clock, or we could look for other time zones that might be able to help us out or something like that. So that's just an example that you might encounter and how you can approach that.
Yeah, great. One step at a time. Take it slow. That's good advice. So David, do you have an offer or somewhere we can find you online?
You bet. Our website is weabenefits.com. And from there, you can link out to our foundation and any other sources.
Great. weabenefits.com. Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to include for our audience? Do you have an offer or something, an event or a call to action for them?
Yeah, I've got one. We created a foundation during the pandemic, and that foundation was designed as a public charity, the 501c3, and the intent of that is to support public schools, educators, and the communities they serve. And because it's a public charity, we need to raise money from outside sources. It's not a private charity where we have to fund it completely. We do put money in, but we're also looking for folks that want to join us. The purpose of our mission currently is to support access to school-based mental health services throughout the state. And we provide challenge grants to the school districts, and those districts then are taught by us how to access local philanthropy to bring them to the table to help the school districts. We were surprised to learn that people couldn't access private philanthropy in the school districts. For some reason, the connection didn't happen. And we, once we learned of that, we go out and we support local philanthropy, and we identify schools where they have need and where they're following the guidelines set up by the Department of Instruction through their Coalition for School-Based Mental Health. They have best practices. And if a school district's doing that, following those best practices, we give them unrestricted grants to support their mental health services in their school. And it's really taking off. We've had large support from like Roots and Wings have gotten behind it. American Families Foundation got behind it in Sun Prairie. We've been around the state. We continually add more schools. We're approaching 20 at the end of this year where we're doing this. So if people would like to join us, we're all ears, and that they can find us through our website. And then also August 4th, they can set their calendar if they like to golf. We have a fundraiser August 4th, the first Monday of August every year. And we celebrate school-based mental health services around the state. And it's at the Oaks Golf Course in Cottage Grove. So they can join us that way. The other thing I would ask is if you know an educator, point them in our direction. I want it to become a thing where if you're an educator and you're not using member benefits, people look at you sideways. I want them to believe in us, and I want them to really lean into us so we can help them achieve financial security.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic job. So thank you for sharing your story and thank you for being our guest on Everyday Champions in Business. As a thank you, Action
Wonderful.
Coach is going to send you an autographed copy of How to Be a Champion Every Day, autographed by
Ah,
Joe Theismann himself.
awesome.
And for those listening, support David's mission and point any educators towards them as well. And with that, that's it. Thank you very much, David.